Hey guys, Eric here outside at the Bethlehem Golf Club. In today's video, we're gonna do something a little bit different. We're actually gonna do every single shot. We're gonna follow me around for my full practice session so you guys can see what I do when I practice and what I would suggest that you guys do when you practice. You'll see my putting practice, chipping practice, and my full swing. I'm gonna talk over the practice, talk you through what I'm doing, how you can utilize these routines in your own game. If you guys like this style video, click that like button down below as you're watching. Let us know what you think, and hopefully we'll be able to do more. Hope you guys enjoy the video.
All right, let's get started. Now, as we're watching through here, you're going to see me doing my full practice routine. Always with our practice routines, we start with the putting. So seeing me start here, the first of normally a five-phase practice routine with the putting, which is always some form of gate drill to warm up. Now, with our practice routines, we always suggest you putt first, chip second, hit balls third, every single time you practice, no matter what. So when I go to the range, I head immediately down to the putting green. I putt for the first 25% of my practice, chip for the second 25%, and hit balls for the last half of it. So a normal 1 hour practice session would be 15 minutes putting, 15 minutes chipping, 30 minutes hitting balls. And to me, that's pretty much non-negotiable every time you practice. Now with our putting, when we start down here, normally there's 5 phases in our putting masterclass plan, and we'll put our practice plan info in the description down below. But in our putting practice plan, we developed a 5-minute, or a 5-station rather, 25-minute routine. So it's 5 different stations. You do each one for 5 minutes. And I'm doing basically just a shortened version here. On this day, I ended up doing 45 minutes of practice, which I believe was 10 minutes putting, 10 minutes chipping, and 25 minutes on the range. And so when you putt, always the first thing is some form of gate drill, start line drill. You're looking to find a short putt uphill 3 to 4 feet. You're working on the fundamentals, mechanics, getting the ball started on line, seeing the ball go in the hole. So for me, with the stick on the ground there, I'm working on my tendencies, which the stick on the ground for me is putter path, trying to keep the putter path neutral back in through, not work too far inside, and tend to leave the club face open. So there I'm doing a little split grip feel, getting the club face a little more closed. Now I ended up doing a couple of rounds there to get started, kind of based on how I'm feeling. And now I kick into phase 2 or part 2, which is the short distance make percentage. And again, on this day, I'm doing a shortened version of essentially part 2 would be a 4-foot circle. So I'd go down to the putting green. I'd put a 5-minute timer on my phone. I'd do about 5 minutes of that gate drill with the stick that I was doing. That's my version of the gate drill. After that 5 minutes is up, I'd do the next 5 minutes, which would be this part, which is 4-foot circles. Again, here I'm doing a slight variation this day. And as you go on and get more advanced, you have more freedom to do variations to the practice. After I do a couple of rounds, maybe 4 or 5 rounds of the stick drill, again, I'm trying to keep my putter path to the right of the stick on the way through. You can see the heel of the putter wants to get to the left of the stick. That's something I have to watch. Cutting across the ball with the face too open is what I'm monitoring there. And after I make 3, 4, 5 in a row, I like to go over. And here what I'm trying to do is make 3 in a row from this roughly 4 to 5, 6-foot putt. Now, I'm starting here with the left to right breakers. That's the hardest putt for me, is someone who putts across it with the face open, right, as a right-handed golfer. So I like to start with that first. And basically, I make a rule with myself, hey, I need to make all 3 in a row. Now, all 3 in a row with a straight or uphill putt, typically not as difficult for me, but with the left to right putts, this is more difficult. You can see here as I work through, I'm certainly missing plenty of putts. Some days I go up and I make all 3 or 5, whatever the rules are that I make that day. I make them in a row, and it's easy. And other days, much more difficult. So you can see here today, as I'm working through here, I'm having a hard time getting all 3 in a row. And each one I'm doing, I like to step behind the ball there. I can miss that one. I could step behind the ball and get a read and approach it a little bit like I'm actually on the course, right? I'm not just walking one to the other. I step back and look at it like I would on the course there. And as you can see here, some days they go in easier, some days a little more difficult. Now, if I continue to have difficulty with that as I go on day after day, I would start to mark my read with a T. I'd start to break down why I'm missing a little bit more. But on this particular day, for the sake of the example, I'm just going through and if I miss it, if I don't get all 3 in a row once or twice, I'll pause, go back. You can see, do a couple more of the gate drills, get the ball started on line. And you can see as I'm going through here, because my rules are that I have to make all 3 in a row. When I miss, it's upset, right? I'm actually means something to me. I'm trying to make the practice meaningful, similar to the golf course. And really the only way you can do this is if you add some form of consequence. And I like to do that with the short distance ones. You can see there I missed the 3rd one in a row, so I got to do it again. And so I like to typically do it. I say, hey, I won't leave here until I make all 3 in a row. Or some days it's 2, some days it's 4 or 5, depending upon how much time I have or how I feel there. Again, you can see I missed that one and wasn't too thrilled about that. And again, same thing. I'm working through behind each ball, approaching it, walking up, looking at the hole like I would on a course. Not a full routine, but enough of a routine that it mimics the course. There again, missing the third one. So after I do a couple misses in a row, I like to hop back in, kind of recheck the fundamentals, get the ball back in the hole. You can see the putter going a little more across there in the follow through than I would prefer. But that was really a quick, basically a 10-minute putting practice plan. I didn't go through all 4 phases or 5 phases like normal, but this is what I had time to do that day. I move on to the chipping. Here I start with a sand wedge. This is basically just a warm-up. I'll do 3 or 4 shots to a short hole just to get a feel the club head, solid contact. Then we'll continue on. I'll do 3 or 4 to a medium hole and 3 or 4 to a longer hole. And usually with our chipping practice plan, it's the same thing. It's a 25-minute plan. We have 5 stations, each one of them 5 minutes. And today, again, because I'm only doing a 10-minute version, this is based on a 45-minute practice plan. I really want to put something together that I think we can all do, everyone watching can do, in under an hour. You can hit all these areas of your games, and I did this whole thing in 45 minutes. We sped the video up here a little bit for the sake of watching, but it's a 45-minute practice plan. So here I'm just, again, kind of warming up, chipping to the medium hole, just getting a feel for general contact. If there's anything I would be working on mechanically, I would be thinking that here at this point in time. For me, I don't have anything mechanically with my chipping, so I'm just getting a feel for distance. Normally in our chipping practice plan, you'd warm up to the middle of the green, part 1 for 5 minutes. You'd do short, medium, and long like this for 5 minutes. You do landing zones with a towel or object on the green, working your landing zones. Here, Mary and I are joking about something apparently. And then you would do the bump and runs, short, medium, and long, and then you do up and down. So those would be the 5 phases. And I'm obviously here just doing the pieces that I think are most important for me relative to the time I have. You can always dumb down the practice plans a little bit here, just chipping to the short, medium, and long, kind of skip the warm-up, and then I'm going to skip the landing zones. And you know what your strengths are, just like the putting. You saw I only did 2 of the phases. And there's really 5 phases. Well, my speed control with my putting is excellent, but basically probably the best part of my game. And so I don't need to practice that at all. I spent hours and hours and hours over a decade practicing speed control, so I don't really need to do it as much. Whereas my short distance, you guys saw by how many I missed, needs more work. Chipping, same thing. My landing zones are good. For me, I need a little bit more of this bump and run practice. Here I'm hitting the 9-iron. This is my second 5 minutes. Couple to a short target, couple to a medium target. Again, just to get a feel, you can see you need a little bit of improvement with those first couple. We're going to do 2 or 3 to a longer target. And I'm just working my feel so that when I go play and I have this bump and run shot with my 9-iron, I know what the feels are to go short, medium, and long, and I have that in my arsenal if I need it. So I did the short, medium, and long, just a couple reps there, feel good about it. So now I'm moving on to up and downs. I'm skipping some of the middle parts of the practice, and now I'm going up and down. So I take 2 golf balls, going to a short hole. Now the rules here always got to be a consequence. I'm going to say I'm going to chip the 2 balls, and I have to get both of them up and down. So the rules are stay at the first hole. I can use whatever club I want here. I'm going to choose to use a sand wedge the whole time here. And what I'm looking for here as I work through is, can I get 2 up and down in a row? And so if I were to miss one of these putts, I always walk up and putt them out. If I were to miss one of these 2, that would be no good. I got to go back over and do the first hole over again. But I got those 2 up and down, which I should, right? I just warmed up to those holes and pretty straightforward chip shots. And here I'm just kind of chipping from the same spot to the middle parts of the greens here, nothing super advanced. If I did this several days in a row and I got all of them up and down, I would want to do something to make it more difficult. So I might go back into the rough. I might pick harder lies, things like that. There I got both those up and down. So we're moving on to the third hole. Again, if I'd have missed that, I'd stay at that hole. And this one I decided to do the 9-iron here, so I lied to you before. We're a little short. Mary throwing in a little slow-mo action there for you. And we're doing the 9-irons to the long one, which is really the shot that I would play there on the course. And again, grab the putter, walk up, literally practice getting the ball in the hole. Even these little gimmies, don't take the gimmies. Hit the ball in the hole. Get used to getting the ball in the hole in 2 shots has been a game changer for my short game pieces. And that's it. So that was a pretty easy chipping little practice routine there, because it was good, right? I felt no need to do any more time with it. 10 minutes up to the range. So now I'm about 20 minutes into my 45-minute practice session. I get to the range. Always at the range, we warm up. We do wedges warm up first. So we'll do typically 2 balls each distance, but for the sake of the time here today, I'm doing 1 ball to each distance. So 1 to 30, 1 to 40, 1 to 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. If I had more time, I'd do 2 to each distance, but here I'm just doing 1 to each distance. You see, I don't have targets here, and I chose this spot on the range for that reason, because a lot of you won't have targets. So I hit the ball what I thought was about roughly 30, and I'm trying to basically leapfrog every ball 10 yards past the previous ball. Now for me, with my wedges and distance control system, I like to use 1 club. That's a 56-degree sand wedge. 1 speed, so I'm not trying to hit it any softer or harder if the ball's going shorter or longer. I'm just trying 1 speed. And then what I'm doing is I'm increasing swing length. So, 30 yards is, for me, feels thigh-thigh, 40's pocket-pocket, 50's hip-hip, 60's above hip, etc., all the way up to, I can hit my sand wedge 110. I usually, that'll probably be where I end my full swing. Here, I believe I went up to 100 yards, which is kind of just under full swing. And then here we're going to work into my 110-yard shot. So all those clubs were sand wedge. Now we got 110, which is basically a chest-to-chest gap wedge. And then I believe we'll do 120, which is like a shoulder-to-shoulder gap wedge. And then I think I did 1 full here, which is the 130. And that to me is basically just a warm-up. Like if I was going to the gym and was loosening up, that's basically what that is. But I hit all my wedges, right? So the compound interest of that distance control, I have to warm up. Anyway, that's phase 1 of my range practice. Phase 2 is always mechanics. So here's where I'm actually going to work on my swing. You notice I got the live view back there. I have the cell phone in front of me so I can see what I'm doing simultaneously as I'm doing it. Working on hip rotation drills. You guys haven't seen the live view. We'll include that down below. You can use the coupon code ECGolf, $40 off, little plug there. And we're doing the mechanics. So here I'm working essentially on one thing, which is hip rotation. See, I've got the stick through my belt loops and the stick on the ground. I'm trying to get my hips over that stick on the ground there, that gray stick you can see there, which is about 40 degrees open by the time I get to impact. So I feel like I'm opening my hips, slowing down my arms. For me is what I need to feel, a little pose there, and working in the mechanics. Now this is the second phase of my practice. It's only 25% of my range practice, right? And my range practice is only half of my total practice. So this is just a small portion. A lot of us spend too much time on the mechanical pieces, whereas it should only be a small portion of it. Now, with the live view up, I'm seeing the video replay each time after I hit, and so I'm seeing, hey, are my hips open enough? Do I need to do more? Do I need to exaggerate more, less, adjust, etc.? And also notice as I'm going, which you should be doing with your mechanics, I'm doing 1 or 2 rehearsals in between each hit. So I do a rehearsal, and then I do a little pose to feel it, and then I do a hit. So typically our plan is you do 20 reps with this. In our range full swing practice plan, you would do 20 reps. So really 20 reps of hitting balls with 1 or 2 rehearsals is like 40 to 60 swings, or 40 to 60 rehearsals. So it's quite a bit of it, when the goal with your practice should be frequency, not duration. 20 good mechanics reps with 1 or 2 rehearsals done 3, 4, 5 days a week is so much better than 100 in one day. It's about spacing it out. And so there you can see I'm done with my mechanics. I don't know if I hit maybe 10, 11 balls, or not a lot. It was how I wanted. It looked good. I had the rotation I want, so time to move on, right? I don't need to do a million. I'm not looking to do a million a day. It's about the day after day. So here we work on grids. Grids, I will pick 2 targets in the background that are basically 30 feet apart. And what I'm trying to do is hit the ball in the zone. If you can imagine a field goal post in between the 2 high points of the trees in the back, I'm trying to get the ball to land in the zones. Now this is my third part of my practice. Start with your shortest club, and the goal within the 20 golf balls is to work through your entire bag. The rules are, if you hit the ball and it lands in the grid, kind of look at the yellow flag on the left, maybe the 200-yard sign on the right, just left of the blue pole there. Let's assume that's a grid field goal post. The ball's got to land within that. And if it does, I move up to the next club. If it doesn't, like this one I miss with my gap wedge, I stay on that club till I get it. This is where I'm taking my feels of that hip rotation and seeing exactly what I need to feel to get the ball to do what I want. This is where I learn what I need to feel on the golf course. I'm still feeling the hip rotation there. And notice in between each ball, I do a little semi-routine like the course. I'm switching clubs. I stand behind the ball. I look at my target. I go through my routine. I have a little visualization there, and I hit. So it's very much course-like. This is not beating balls with 1 club to 1 target. That's not going to transfer. I'm literally just pulling the glove down on my hand you saw there It's just like I would do on the course. That one I missed to the right, so I have to do this club again, but it's the same routines I would do on the course. And I'm feeling, okay, when I feel this rotation, do I need to add anything else to it? What's the ball doing? And really, you should have one or two priorities with your coach that you're working on, and you work on those till you get them. You have a ball flight you want, a miss you want, a miss you don't want. And you can see I'm rehearsing the hip rotation there, and I'm just working through my bag. And each time the ball goes in the grid, I move up. I'm good with that. And each time it misses, I stay on it. I don't need perfection here. I just need the ball to be going within a zone. And on this day, the ball was going pretty good. I didn't need to do much. The ball was going fairly straight. If it was moving a lot, I might shift my aim. I might add a feel or two. You can see a little mini club twirl in there. I'm feeling it. And this looks like we're up to about a pretty long iron here. So I would do all the way through my bag. Sand wedge, gap wedge, pitching wedge, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 iron, which I think this one is here. My 3 iron, driving iron, and then a fairway wood. Right. So the fairway wood would be my last one. Every club I have that I hit off the ground, I'm working into this zone. Now I missed that one to the left. Now over time, if that zone, if I got through there in one shot with all clubs, I'd make it harder, make the zone smaller. If I missed it every time, I'd make the zone bigger. You have to adjust the rules a little bit per your ability level. There, I think I was tweaking it a little bit to the left, but just got in there. So I only had to redo a couple of them, right? Fairly straightforward range session. I had that little noodle in there for start line. My missed tendency is to start it too far right, so I was trying to keep it to the left of that. So obviously we sped through that, but that was probably, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 balls I hit there, right? Sand wedge through 3 with a couple redos. Now driver, there's various rules you can do here. Same thing, I'm picking 2 spots in the distance like a fairway. My rules are I have to get the ball within the fairway. Now you can do this as an X in a row format, or you can do where you have to get a total amount in, meaning, so I missed that one to the right there. You can do, hey, I'm going to do this driver grid within this fairway, and I'm going to do it until I get 3 in a row without missing. If I miss one, I start over. Or I'm going to do 10 in a row or 5 in a row. Or I can say, hey, I need to get 10 in this grid. I'll hit as many balls as I need to get 10 in, right? There's various rules. I usually like to do X in a row to put a little pressure on me. So I might say, hey, here's my grid. I'm going to hit balls until I get 5 in a row. There I missed to the right. So a couple misses to the right here, which is the miss that I built into my swing. So I don't mind a right miss. I hate a left miss. That one was good. And so when I'm going here, I like to say, hey, okay, I need to hit maybe 5 balls in the fairway, and then how many balls is it going to take me to do it? Can I do it in 5, 6, 7? And then when I used to really practice a ton, I used to say, hey, I need to do 10 in a row. Now that's when I hit a lot more balls, wasted time. There, I'm done. I got the last one in. And that's the range session.
Hey guys, thanks for watching today's video. If you liked the video, do us a favor, click that like button down below. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already. If you guys did enjoy this video on practice, be sure to let us know in the comments down below. We're gonna put 2 cards on the screen here from practice videos we did earlier in the week that hopefully will serve you well. If you would love some in-person coaching, I would love to coach you. We'll put the link to Cogorno Golf here on the screen. Would love to see you there.